I'm a plumber. I have a plumbing business, plumbing, heating, and electrical business, and I've been in business for about 22 years. An average day, I probably put on about 300 kilometers a day.
Oh, wow.
An average day.
Gas bill's pretty high, huh?
Yes. $3,114.06. That's for gas. That's an average bill.
Monthly?
Monthly.
When you look at your gas bill, and when you're, see the Liberals campaigning on the carbon price, what do you think about your gas bill?
I just see the gas bill going higher. That's going to affect on your dollar, on your bottom line dollar, and end up going to be the consumer's going to pay for that.
And this is a election issue for you?
Oh yes, most definitely. I'd say it's top priority.
The carbon tax is just one concern Ron Martin has with the current Liberal government. He's a lifetime Conservative voter in Kings Hants, a rural Nova Scotia riding about an hour outside of Halifax. The riding has been Liberal since 2004, but Martin thinks things may play out differently this election.
This riding hasn't been Conservative for quite some time, I guess, since Scott Bryson was first elected. Do you think it's going to stay Liberal?
I don't think you're going to see Liberal back this time. Kings Hants is ready for a change.
May I ask what you think about Scott Bryson's resignation earlier this year?
He should have done that 20 years ago when he quit the PC party.
Ron may have not supported Scott Bryson once he crossed the floor to join the Liberal Party in 2003, but many voters in Kings Hants did. Bryson, Canada's first openly gay cabinet minister, was elected 7 times, sat in cabinet under 2 prime ministers, and served his riding for 22 years.
A lot of politicians, they don't necessarily have the opportunity to leave the field on their own steam. They're airlifted off the field, or they're taken off in a body bag because political careers don't always end
Are you saying politics is a rough business?
It's a rough business.
Did you anticipate the impact that happened after your resignation? I'm talking about SNC-Lavalin, obviously, of course. Did you anticipate all that?
Well, the answer would be no.
Now Trudeau has to prepare for political life after Bryson.
Obviously, this will require some changes to our cabinet.
Critics say that cabinet shuffle triggered a series of events known as the SNC-Lavalin affair. That led to the cabinet resignation of Jody Wilson-Raybould, which many say started a drop in the polls for the Liberals.
If Scott Bryson had not stepped down from cabinet, Jody Wilson-Raybould would still be Minister of Justice and Attorney General.
This drop in Liberal polling was seen as an opportunity for other parties to make inroads in ridings like Kings Hants and rally support in Atlantic Canada. And this is significant because if you remember from the last election, the eastern provinces were locked down by the Liberals and key to their majority win.
This is unbelievable. As we look at the maps as well, there is nothing but red going on.
They've also been telling me, these Conservatives, that this was almost their worst case scenario.
New Liberal candidate Cody Blois wants to see his riding stay red and has the backing and mentorship of Bryson to help him navigate his campaign.
Rural politics is different than urban politics. Certainly, the further you get outside the urban areas, you get into rural parts of Canada, small businesses not only drive local economy, but they also are the ones that are usually heavily involved in the community and making a difference. And this is what it's all about. There's really a move right now, particularly in this area, to celebrate local produce. Really good to try to get back to sustainable farming. What I'm hearing on the doorsteps is affordability. cost of living, access to rural broadband.
About $26.4 million in mostly federal funds was put towards high-speed internet access for rural and remote communities in Nova Scotia last year.
Internet access is the biggest issue out here.
As a small business owner of the Flying Apron restaurant, German citizen Chris Veldin feels the impact of poor online connectivity.
At 5 o'clock, everything shuts down because everybody comes home at 5 o'clock, and therefore I can't or couldn't run my debit machines, couldn't play any music because there was a total overload over the internet.
Oh, it's just throttled.
Yeah.
So we get people that want to live out by the bay, out by the water, and they can't promote and sell their business online because it's such a poor internet system. We have dial-up or we have satellite system, high-speed fiber op in some of those areas is unheard of.
Conservative candidate Martha McQuarrie says she understands the unique challenges in rural ridings, including the need to support essential services like firefighters.
My husband was a member of the Kemptville Volunteer Firefighter for 30 years. He passed away from cancer on May 15th, 2015, and the guys here dedicated the truck to him. Fire halls are so important. In rural communities, they're all volunteer. We don't have the money in Nova Scotia to be able to afford paid fire departments. So we all owe a debt of gratitude to all our firefighters. And I also think when I look around at the trucks that are here, about the carbon tax that Trudeau has put in and how that's going to negatively affect firefighting here. They're supported by the municipality and the taxes, so they have to fill up their tanks and their trucks, and that's going to be a huge, huge cost to them.
I think there should be carbon tax for sure.
Co-owner of Retrieve, an antiques refurbishment store, Conrad Mullins voted Liberal in the last election.
Whether it goes into programs after or it sort of makes people a little bit more conscious of how they use fossil fuels. I have a 4-year-old son. You know, I want to leave behind something that's not destroyed. I think Trudeau and the Liberals did a good job so far.
With a slate of new candidates vying to help solve these rural riding issues, we want to see what some voters here think will happen at the polls.
It's always been a Liberal area. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the future.
I think it's an opportunity for other parties. I think it's up for grabs.
I don't know right now who I would vote for. I think Trudeau made a bad mistake when he threw these women out with the SN11 affair, and I think that's going to hurt him.
I'm not sure. I think it's going to be probably a minority Liberal government.
I can't predict what will happen this time, but I do believe that no Prime Minister has had the back of Atlantic Canadians more than Prime Minister Trudeau.
Are you anticipating another red wave across Atlantic Canada? Are you anticipating a tough fight here?
You know, anytime you win all 32 seats in Atlantic Canada, that's tough to replicate regardless of how good your government has been. I certainly can't speak to what's going to happen in October. My focus is in King's Hands, but what I'm hearing on the doorsteps is that people are generally quite happy with the government, and we've seen the investments here in King's Hands.
I'm hearing that time and time and time again on the doorsteps, that they're ready, that they don't feel that, if I can use the catchphrase, Justin Trudeau is as advertised. There's been way too many broken promises and they're not happy. They're ready for a change.
So without a strong Liberal incumbent in the wings, could the Conservatives change enough minds to change the color of King's Hands? We'll have to wait and see.